Treat every man and every woman as a human. Neither is superior, nor better, nor more intelligent, nor more hardworking. It is better to learn to appreciate and not to discriminate. The world has been suffering through many issues, and with that, it includes discrimination with one another. The disparity between individuals due to gender and social constructions resulting in men and women not having equal rights or privileges, thus living the stigma of every role of each gender. Good day. We are Group 4 and we are here to discuss our chosen social issue, gender inequality. The discussion is set to present the identified major problem, the causes, effects, and the overview of our social issue. Furthermore, having awareness is the key to be fully equipped regarding the issues around us.
Gender inequality is discrimination based on sex or sex making one sex or sex be regularly special or focused on over another. Gender inequality refers to how people are treated unequally and unfairly based on their gender. Gender roles that are socially established are to blame for this inequity. It occurs when a person of one gender receives different or less favorable treatment than a person of the opposite gender in the same setting. Sexual orientation fairness is a crucial basic liberty, and that right is disregarded by sex based segregation. Sexual orientation uniqueness begins in adolescence and are correct now, restricting the long lasting capability of youngsters all over the planet, excessively influencing young ladies. For further information, Kristen will state some additional details.
At Save the Youngsters, we put sex balance at the core of all we do. Our vision is a world where all individuals, young ladies, young men, and ladies and men, have equivalent freedoms, obligation, and openings, with paying little heed to sex standards, personalities, or articulations. A reality where everybody is similarly perceived, regarded, and esteemed. Gender inequality became a serious problem in our world because it discriminates women genders, thus for it affects their lives in many fields. For example, their opportunities in their future career because someone or somebody is simply discriminating them because of their gender, and it is dangerous problem because some cases there are physical issues such as physical abuse to their partners or some strangers that discriminate them.
The Philippines' gender status is marked by strong inconsistency. It visually displays examples of women development in politics, academic, and professional success, and even legislation. Images of prostituted women, abused wives, economically impoverished women, and exploited migrant workers, on the other hand, stand in stark contrast. The online generation is fighting with sociocultural traditions. The lengthy history of colonization has instilled in Filipinos a patriarchal society. Modern women exerting themselves in many facets of life are eroding the stereotypes of women as full-time homemakers, submissive to males, victims of private violence, reserve workforce, and sexual objects. The harsh realities of global business and consumerism, on the other hand, have disenfranchised, discriminated against, and even exploited some people. The backdrop of a very busy and vibrant women's movement is both change and tradition stagnation. In a nutshell, the gender situation in the Philippines is as follows. The, the legislative system has established essential foundations and mechanisms for women empowerment and gender equality. But the dynamics of political and social institutions continue to exert a pull on gender equality. Women have been stereotyped in the labor market, disadvantaged in terms of jobs and money, and driven into prostitution and slave-like labor. A Filipino societal image is still that of a helpless woman, the poster girl for a domestic help, a specialist in double duty, and sexual object.
causes that we stated here in gender equality are for job segregation, racism, societal mindsets, lack of employment equality, and Anika will state the details about what we know about the problem.
This is due to the limits placed on women and the increased exposure to males. Women's rights are limited nowadays since they are not given greater work opportunities. This must be stopped so that women receive equal status as males. Their freedom is essential to the ability for them to make their own decision. Another thing that may be done to eliminate inequities is to educate them. The main issue of gender inequality develops because women are limited in their own ability to obtain work, even if their parents are not in favor of it. This gave rise to the issue of gender inequality. Another factor that prevents gender equality is that women are not treated as well as men. Thus, their dignity degrades. Now, Charlie and Rebel will state the effects of gender inequality.
Number one effects racism affects what jobs women of color are able to get and how much they are paid as well as how they are viewed by legal and healthcare system. Gender and racism has been closely linked for a long time. According to Sally Cage, a professor and author, European settles in Virginia decided what work could be taxed based on race of the woman performing the work. Second, the societal mindset compared to women and men are less likely to work full-time, more likely to be employed in lower paid occupation and less likely to progress in their careers.
For the frustration, lack of employment, equality, and social tension is one of the example of frustration. Because of the mindset of a society, it has a significant impact on gender inequality, on how society determines the differences and value of man versus woman. It plays a staring role in every aspect of life, whether it's employment or the legal system or even in healthcare. The beliefs about gender run deep, and the progress can be made through laws and structural changes. Even though there's often a pushback of following times of major change, it is also common for everyone to ignore other areas of gender inequality. When there's progress, it is such a better representation for women in leadership. Another is job segregation. It refers to how workers are distributed across and within occupations based on demographic factors, most commonly gender. These demographic traits can possibly cross the paths of a dreamer and someone who's passionate and driven on how they will be present themselves. It is not favorable for the people who's carrying their guts and professionalism just to achieve their dream job. It's such a better representation when people are all open and no judgment, especially on job hiring and job facts related. Here's Monique for summarization.
The struggle to attain global gender equality has been a centuries-long battle. Although the world has significantly progressed in every advancement and its goal of gender equality, men and women disproportionately suffer from discrimination and violence. These injustices do, however, have a chance to be corrected through such ways. 1. Access to education and raising awareness. Gender awareness raising intends to change attitudes, behaviors, and beliefs that reinforce inequalities between women and men. It is therefore crucial to develop awareness raising methods that generate a favorable space for debate, promote political interest, and encourage mobilization. In this way, they contribute to gaining broad support and political will for implementing gender mainstreaming and gender equality policies. This goes hand in hand with gender equality training as a way to transmit the necessary information and knowledge to take action. 2. Higher diversity in the workplace. Gender inequalities in the workplace is a form of institutional discrimination. Organizations must avoid institutional discrimination against men and women with HR policies to determine employee selection, performance evaluation, and promotions. With such, to make them gender neutral, jobs should de emphasize masculine and feminine stereotypical attributes. Application and hiring information should be gender neutral and make it easier for women to work in male dominated companies by adapting working styles to allow men and women to accommodate family demands. 3. End violence and sexual assault. An unprecedented number of countries have laws against domestic violence and sexual assault. However, these laws go often ignored, jeopardizing women and girls' rights to their safety and injustice. UN Women has also designed a curriculum, Voices Against Violence, for those aged 5 to 25 years. The curriculum includes tools to help young people understand the root causes of violence in their communities and to help educate and involve their peers and communities in preventing violence against women and girls. And 4. Provide or request anti-bias training. Racism and prejudice at work often affect people from historically marginalized groups in the form of microaggressions. This means jokes and offensive comments made without harmful intent but that hurt people and generate stress. One way to stop microaggressions is to offer training on diversity and implicit prejudice. So, as a group, there are ways on how we can achieve the solutions proposed. As young as we are, we can make a big action through the easiest ways. One is to share household chores and childcare equally. Household chores and children's care are every adult's responsibility. There must be an equal division of labor in every home. So in our homes, every gender is never limited to do household chores. With such, we can easily promote gender equality by allowing all members of the family to liberally allow them to do household chores at the comfort of their homes. 2. Watch for signs of domestic violence. If we know that a friend or acquaintance who is suffering from domestic violence, we will immediately seek help and support. This type of violence is not restricted to a physical aggression. Often, all these things occur together. If anyone experiences domestic violence, it must be reported immediately. 3. Reject chauvinist and racist attitudes. As a group, we never promote discrimination. Therefore, it is best not to make comments that ridicule, demean, or humiliate women, black people, indigenous people, members of the LGBTQI community, or any other historically marginalized groups. We are the voice of the voiceless. We must talk to friends and family frankly and telling them to stop with the chauvinist, racist, homophobic, and transphobic insults. And lastly, to listen and reflect. One of the main obstacles to eliminating prejudice is that people have difficulty recognizing it exists. We all have them, based on race, religion, sexual orientation, and gender. We must pay attention to assumptions and know that none of us is immune to making bad comments or holding biased attitudes. When someone points out something problematic in every speech, we must listen and reflect.
This is Tristan Loy Baloyot.
This is Maureen Ardal Rosario.
This is Monique Gershano.
This is Maridel Angelica M. Manalo.
This is Angelica Dubinario.
This is Chris Reb Rodriguez.
This is Charlie Tacdeo, and thank you for listening.